Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. Well, last night, because I thought about watching it last night, but I couldn't. It was too late. I rolled. Well, welcome back to the I Rolled It I Review weekend. I rolled AMC Plus Action, and I don't remember what the number was, but it landed on Love and Honor, which is not an action movie. It's in action, but it's not an action movie. I think they put it in the action category because it's technically a war film. It has to do with the war, but there's really no action. There's like one scene at the beginning. I don't move this at all, and I have to adjust it every single time. I don't know why. There's one scene at the beginning where it's like an action ambush scene. But that's it. It's really just a drama. The plot revolves around. It takes place in 1969, year of the moon landing, Vietnam War, Sesame Street, and my mom's birth. And these two soldiers are on R&R and are supposed to stay in China, but instead take a flight back to America because one of the guy's girlfriends had broken up with him during the war. Yeah. Now I just realized I need to look up names. I know that Mickey is our main character, played by Liam Hemsworth, not Chris Hemsworth. Boy, let me just tell you, we have a romance between two actors who are having a trouble controlling their Australian accents. There are times, because you have Liam Hemsworth and you have Teresa Palmer, and there are times where they are talking and they're going in and out of their Australian accents. There. We also have. Hold on. Let me get to the page first. What? Stop with the emoji! It's not letting me. 2013 film. All right. So our two soldiers are Mickey Wright and Dalton Joyner. Joyner is the one who has the girlfriend who breaks up with him. So he decides, rather than them doing their R&R like they're supposed to and staying in Hong Kong, he's going all the way back to just back to the United States. He goes back to the United States to get his girl back. Right? That's what it is. So, yeah. Austin Stoll is Dalton Joyner, and you may have seen him playing a soldier in Fantasy Island. Maybe not. You probably didn't watch that movie. I liked it. Thought it was better than Truth or Dare. Yeah, the Fantasy Island movie. They came out, Blumhouse's Fantasy Island, because they gotta put their name on everything. Yeah. That's what that was. But he finds out that she's living with these hippies. One of them is Big Nose Captain America, as my son would say, Wyatt Russell. Clearly has a thing for her. She's going by the name Juniper now, because they're hippies and they're protesting the war. And so to sort of fit into, like, no, we're soldiers, but we're deserting. We're deserting. We're not going back. All the while planning to go back. But, and I'm like, this plot sounds very familiar to me. And I can't put my finger on it though. Like, people saying we're not gonna go back, but they're gonna go back. I don't remember. I had it in my head and I lost it. It's like we have this amount of time, but then we're gonna stay the extra week. We're just gonna camp. Ha! It's fired up. It's fired up. They had a similar plot where they said we're gonna go to cheerleading camp 2 weeks, and then on the third week we're gonna cop out and we're gonna go to football camp. That's what it is. And they're like, oh hey, we're just gonna go here. We're gonna stay for our 1 week, and then we're gonna go back. But then they say the deserters, and they want to put in a story like, no, we don't want no story about us, because if, the military thinks they're trying to skip out, apparently that's illegal. It's 1969. It wasn't so laid back as it is now, where I don't think we're in a state where once you turn 18, you have to go. Like, back then, you had to sign up for the draft, you had to do that, and if you were drafted, you had to go. Nowadays, it's not so cut and dry like that. I had to. Back in 2006, at least, I had to. When I was graduating. But because of my autism, they're like, eh. That's also how I got out of jury duty. Yeah. I don't know. But while there, Mickey falls in love with a woman named Candace, played by Teresa Palmer. And this is where I said we get the Australians trying not to sound Australian, but kind of do type of situation. So I'm watching this movie, and we get to a point, and I'm like, okay, they're laid back now. They've got this good thing going. They portray weed wrong again. They keep having allegories to the moon landing. Like, we're on the moon right now, and we're away from everything else. And, like, what if the astronauts, two of those astronauts didn't go back home? What, they stayed on the moon? And I'm like, well, then they would die because their oxygen would go out. It's not a very good allegory for what they're doing. Because at the end, when Joyner's talking to me, he's like, what if the two guys, they stayed on the moon? Well, they didn't go back. And I was like, they would die because their oxygen would run out. Even Wright is like, can't stay on the moon. Yeah, I don't know if he's trying to defend why he's going back, but it's like, no, you literally cannot stay on the moon. There's no oxygen. You don't have I don't know the word. An unlimited source of oxygen. There it is. So that allegory doesn't really work for me. Like I said, we're going at a decent pace. People are getting along, and then for some reason, the writers said we need some sort of conflict. So apparently, if you're in this hippie community, you're a whore, or you're monogamous. Is that the word, monogamous? Whatever it is, where you sleep with everyone, right? Promiscuous. That's what it is. Monogamous means that you're in just one person, right? Promiscuous or something like that, because like dudes passed out. No, let me point out at this point. He and his girlfriend Joyner and his girlfriend got back together. He's proposed to her, and they're going to get married. Dude smokes weed, and people who write movies don't know how fucking weed works because they think it makes you pass out and hallucinate. So he passes out, and when he wakes up, she's making out with Wyatt Russell. And he quite rightfully punches the dude in the face. And she has the audacity to go, "What are you doing?" But you're what? What do you mean, what are you doing? And she gets pissed for him going off on this guy. And I'm just like, no, he's in the right. Now, it's one thing if they were still just dating. And I'm not trying to justify this, but if they were just dating, if they got back together and all that stuff, and she wakes up, or he wakes up, and she's making out with him and he goes off, then she has a case for freaking out. But they're engaged. She said yes to marrying him. That means whatever this other shit you got going on has to stop. But she's like, that's not who I am anymore. I'm like this now, and I'm like, then why did you say yes to marrying him if you're not going to withhold the laws that marriage would entail, which means you stay with one man? Well, the 60s were all about free love and peace. I get that. But I was born in 87. I was born during the Cold War, not the Vietnam War. I guess the Cold War technically is still 60s too, but it's different, whatever. But yeah, so like they're all pissed, and then eventually, of course, but then like Mickey and his girl and Candace, they're I don't get whenever I see this. With we're gonna have sex outside in a blanket or something, and I'm like, dude, bugs will get in your butt crack. Don't do that. That reminds me of another movie. They're outside. What was it? American Pie. Because Oz and his girl, they do it outside, right? And the bugs getting his butt crack or some shit. I don't know. But like, yeah. But of course, there's got to be a problem with them, too. So she finds out that they're not actually deserters, and they're going to go back because Juniper, Jane, whatever, had dug in their box of stuff and found out the truth, I guess. That's what I saw when she's digging through. She's like, they're going back. Maybe he told her? I don't know. So the whole plan was to get them to Canada. And that's still the plan by the end, because Joyner doesn't go back, because I'm going to go to Canada. And this other guy, he got his draft papers. We're both going to Canada. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to work. Because I don't know about back in the 60s, but there's borders in Canada. Right? There's a border patrol. Also, the plan in the end didn't make sense to me. So, they decide to leave. They're going to go back to the airport, and Joyner, who's driving, makes a U-turn and says, no. We're not going back without your happy ending. So, they go back, and this dude, who is also in love with Candace, I guess, gets in the way, but Mickey punches him in the gut. The gut. Not the gut. The gut. The gut. In the gut. And, goes up, talks to her, they make amends. But, they sort of make amends. Sort of. She's like, I don't want to see you anymore, and you gotta hear it. And he's like, they talk. It seems like it's sort of an amends thing, but then, while Joyner and the other dude who's gonna dodge the draft are out there, of course the military shows up because douchebag guy who got punched in the gut had printed a newspaper telling them where they are because of jealousy. Yeah. Hey, jealousy. Yeah. So he puts this, I had to tell this story. It's important because they're anti-war, so he wants to put out an anti-war message. So he gets arrested, and then this is where it baffles me. So Joyner shows up as an MP with... I didn't know where this was going at first, because like they show up in the house and they're like, they took him. We got to do something, and he looks at Wyatt Russell, and then it cuts, and you have Mickey handcuffed, in the office. They're like, you're gonna go, and you're gonna go back. And I'm like, how much? He's like, how much you got left? He's like, 6 months. Okay, so I've never been in the military, but I don't understand. So I'm trying to understand. So I get back then, you had to go to war. It was the whole thing. But I don't know. I've never been on the side of going to war. I guess I would be on the anti-war people. I wouldn't be smoking weed, but I'd be on that anti-war thing, right? Apparently, it's illegal for them to just ditch out. They have to go back. But even like when they're trying to arrest him, she's like, no, he's not ditching. He's on R&R, and then they have the paper like, well, then explain this. She's like, I didn't write that. That's why it'll be the other guy. There's jealous, jealousy. So Joyner shows up as an MP with Wyatt Russell playing Joyner. And he's like, well, I got this guy. I got Joyner. And I'm going to take him in. And the dude, the military guy, just lets him go. Now, tell me if this didn't make any sense. Okay, so he unhandcuffs Mickey just so Joyner can handcuff him again. Why did they need 2 different sets of handcuffs? It was like, these are mine, you can't have them, so yours. Okay? And then they leave. It works. He didn't have to show any ID, right? You think military would be like, okay, show me your military ID then. Also, it's the military. They don't have photos of the 2 people that they're after. They don't know what Joyner looks like. I don't know. This all made me scratch my head. It makes less and less sense. They get out, right? And they get to the car, and then Wyatt Russell's like, you know what? I'm just going to hoof it. I'm going to walk it. And I'm like, but you're still by the military base. If someone from that base sees you, they're going to be like, hey, wait a minute. What's he doing walking around? I mean, he changed his clothes, but he's still I don't know. And then they get to the airport, and he's like, I'm not going back. Me and this other guy, we're going to go to Canada. You got his draft papers. Again, I don't think that would work, but they're going to Canada. But so Mickey goes to go back, and he runs into Candace. They make up, apologize and everything, and he says, I have to go back. I have to do it for my people. You also said earlier for Juniper to keep sending the care packages. So does she not know that he's going to Canada? Apparently, according to Wikipedia, they broke up, but I didn't see that. I don't know. I'm not allowed to look during the movie. That's what's killing me with these. I'm not allowed to look on the internet during the movie. I always like to look up stuff. But anyway, so he goes back, and the movie ends with he goes back, and he's there, and like, come on, tell us the story. Because he was telling wild stories, and he's like, and apparently he's writing to Candace, and it ends with the moon landing, people landing in the water, Apollo 11 module, or it was, yeah. I was like, okay, because I was sure with these kind of drama movies, I thought there was only 2 ways to end. Either it would cut to 6 months later and he's coming back from war and he reunites with Candace. Or a thing was gonna pop up saying that 2 weeks after his return he was shot and killed in Vietnam. Because it's Vietnam and that's what happens. It wasn't a nice time. But no, we just end with the promise that he's gonna get out. So, my big question with this is, how does he still only have 6 months left? Because, like, okay, so Surely somebody in military would have contacted his CO and said, "Hey, Mickey Wright tried to tried to go AWOL," as they would say. So upon his return to Hong Kong, he would be slapped in handcuffs by his CO and some MPs that were there. I'm pretty sure. They make it seem like he just went back and everything was hunky-dory. But I'm pretty sure the news would have got around to his CO. I'm pretty sure that guy in the office would have called me, "Hey, and then they would be like, well, was the other guy? The guy said you were both apprehended by an MP. Oh, he got away. And he was able to get back freely. They don't have people looking for him. Doesn't he have to show a passport to get on a plane? It's all too convenient for him to just be able to go back. I don't know. But I was surprised on how good this actually was. So I'll give it a low, pretty good. Low, pretty good. So let's find out what we're going to do next. Where's the dice? Mother pus bucket. How are you way up there? Found it. Okay, first, streaming service. 5. AMC Plus again? No, can do the same one too. 2. HBO Max. HBO Max it is. By the way, it's actually HBO Max again now. Don't know why they changed it to in the first place. Just keep it. Orale. I guess we're doing this on the other TV then, because this one says I have to use my phone to do it. So we'll go over here, I guess. Batman. I have Batman as the picture. Michael Keaton's Batman, not the Batman. Excuse me. Alright, so let's roll genre. 1. No, shut up! Let's turn the action. We'll do it again. 5. Animation. Orale. Okay. Movies. Okay. I was hoping for horror. And adult animation. That's not what I want. They don't just have animation, they just have adult animation. Because it's... Okay. This is all comic book stuff. I think I'm going to re-roll... the genre. So let's try it again. 3. Horror. Horror. That's... We're getting there. Horror. Geek. Okay. It's got to be some... So this is interesting. Okay. Roll. 2. Final Destination 5. No. 1. Sinners. Okay? Because that's the first thing that's here. And you have A to Z. And Sinners is the first. So Sinners. Cool. I haven't seen it. I have seen the trailer. Sort of. Just whatever was on TV. I haven't seen the full trailer. So, yeah. Hey, I didn't even manipulate it, okay? I wanted to land on this. And how did I know it was going to be the first one? I don't know. Because even if I did that, like, the first thing I go for, Amityville? What is this one? Amityville, Where the Echo Lives. What? I don't know what that is. So we're gonna go with Sinners because that's the first thing on here. That's the horror movies for you. Companion that's on here. Heretic, Conjuring. Just a list of ones. So yes, Sinners. So, what are your thoughts on Love and Honor? No comments, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.